Smells really good out here. I think somebody is doing their laundry and like the fabric softener or the detergent is like super good. So I know it actually wasn't that like long ago that I put up my first video. I like never stop. I there's never a rest time for this thing up here. She's always going, and then she always has something new. And if I don't catch it, I might miss something like really good, really juicy. This was one of those things that I thought was interesting. I think it's crazy if I say that I feel like a modern kind of philosopher, because I don't believe that I have any new takes on a lot of stuff. And when do feel like I have, say, like a hot take, I don't know if that would consider me a modern day philosopher, but whatever. Not that long ago, I was talking to my mom and we were talking about how she remembers a time when like cell phones were just kind of cell phones. And she remembers that she had to take like this long trip to Chicago. And she and like one other person were the only ones in the entire band that knew how to read a map. And my husband is like, "Oh yeah, like I know how to read a map generally." He's like, "It's not that hard." And I was like, "I don't know how to read a map." And I felt really dumb. I felt like, dang, I am not using my brain's fullest potential to learn more new things. Because I feel like you should be kind of learning new things generally. Like, if you don't know how to hard boil an egg, you should learn how to do that, you know? That's me. And then, like, my mom goes on to talk about like how there was a lot of things that like have changed because of the use of cell phones and like the advancement that the technology has been making like through the years. Nowadays, I do notice that a lot of these phones, these smartphones, they're called smartphones for a reason. They do a lot of things. They are a lot of like items in one. And so shortly after this conversation, I saw Eddie Burbach's video where he locked his phone away. And oh my God, for like the next couple weeks, like up until recently, it like has been something that I've been obsessed with to the point where I even made up like a prompt in my journal about like how I would get like this switch done, like what kind of analog things would I use to replace my phone. So the conversation that my mom had and then Eddie Burbach's video really inspired me in a completely different way. And it made me start asking like a lot of questions like, are smartphones really that helpful? And then like I was asking myself this question and then YouTube heard me because then YouTube started showing me all these like videos where people were like showing that they were going to make this switch this summer to have like a no screen summer. But they replaced their phone with like a number of other devices. It's not like they just went cold turkey. A lot of them had iPods, they had like digital watches, they had digital cameras, and they had a lot of products that were still very much digital and not very like medieval. And so I was thinking like, how can you really escape this like smartphone epidemic? And I guess you really can't. People they try and they do like a really good job of it. I've seen other videos where people like do like no smartphone trips where they read a map, they pick a destination, and then they just go. They can't pre-book a room or know what kind of restaurants are there or like what things that like the place has for you to do. It's very much left to like a surprise. And to a degree, I think that's actually really cute. I think that's really great. Like you're kind of going based on what like the localness will say when once you get there and you will experience this new place, through your own eyes instead of say like googling it and then the first popular restaurants pop up or like the stores that like have been reviewed the most pop up. So it's not a biased experience, I guess. In many ways, I have seen our smartphones and the conveniences that they give us kind of be taken for granted, where a lot of people my age, a lot of Gen Z people, they don't know basic math, basic arithmetic math, or even how to do math longhand. A lot of people don't really know how to like do long division on paper. They kind of just use their calculators and they like go from there because it's on their phone. It's already like, it's already there. There is a dog over here, and okay. This entire thing got me thinking about so many, so many conveniences that we already have in our life. I mean, cars being a number one of them, right? But I can't really blame cars the way that I can blame cell phones because uh, America has just literally made a lot of their towns and like their roads to require vehicles and cars. So it's like you can't really, they're almost essential. I was like in the store the other day and I saw this package kind of like in the weird, like ready to go pre made foods that they have. And it was like a package of just hard boiled eggs straight up in a package. And I thought, that's weird. Why does this exist? And once the hard boiled thing kind of like popped up to me, so did like a number of other stuff. I mean, there's so many products that have the same squeezy bottle where like you face the bottle down and the squeeziness is on the bottom and it's got this weird like cup where you can like stand it up on itself. Dish soap has it, mayo has it, mustard has it, ketchup has it. Like a lot of products have this really easy squeezy bottle, and you end up paying more for that convenience. If I made the comparison right now to like a normal jar of mayonnaise to the squeezy bottle of mayonnaise, the squeezy bottle is going to be more and it's going to give me less mayonnaise. You're just paying for the convenience of the easily squeezable mayonnaise. So, like, is that really worth it? Is it really worth to spend more money for convenience? A lot of people will agree with that. That yes, I don't got the time to just be whipping out a butter knife to spread my mayo. Like, I just want to and go, and that's crazy. That's really crazy. It's giving the same vibes of like the wheelchair floating people from Wally. But it really doesn't start there. It doesn't start and it doesn't end with just like convenience food, right? Where it's like already pre-made and you just have to microwave it, or it's easily like usable and accessible no matter what. It kind of goes beyond that, right? During COVID, a lot of small businesses did not make it through COVID. A lot of businesses started at the beginning of COVID, before it was like super major and the lockdown became super strict. A lot of people did that. My parents were one of them. Um, and a lot of those businesses did not make it out of COVID. But these mom and pop shops were already becoming very decreasingly like popular. Um, for like a long time, big retail chain stores were already kind of like sweeping them out of the building essentially because of their convenience, right? Mom and pop shops were really popular in the 50s and 60s because they were everywhere. They were everywhere and you could not guarantee on what exactly that they had constantly in their stores, which is what made them so unique. But then you get these big chain stores where they're very similar to the mom and pop. They only carry so many things, but you can guarantee on that. Sometimes you could go into your like local corner store that's owned by Bob, and Bob may sometimes have bread, and Bob may sometimes not have bread. If you went to these big chain stores, they were guaranteed to have bread. Walmart, at the beginning of Walmart's reign, they were mostly just kind of like a normal store, general store. They did not sell groceries. And it wasn't until I think like to the 2000s that they started to sell groceries and like produce and stuff like that. But they were kind of like Kmart in the sense where like they were just a store where you bought like novelty stuff or hardware or accessories and stuff like that, but it wasn't something that you went to buy your literally essential foods. Once these stores did become big chains and they were very local and became very common, mom and pop shops had a hard time competing with these big stores because they sometimes didn't have all of these things, and they sometimes didn't carry clothes, and they sometimes didn't carry produce, and they didn't carry this. And it really started to dwindle, along with other factors like economic factors of, like, say, recessions and unemployment statuses and stuff like that going down. Like, a lot of these things did affect just normal stores. And then a lot of them were ran by families, and it came to a point where some family members just they didn't want to take it over, so they would kind of die down with the parents. And it made it easier for stores like Walmart, Amazon, Kmart, all those things to pop up just all over the place and take over those stores. And from there, that's where we continue to escalate. So here comes COVID, and everybody's in lockdown, and everybody is stuck inside their house. And while a lot of mom and pop shops did start getting into like this e-commerce kind of like online stores, it was not to the same structural level as Walmart or Amazon. On top of the fact that like Walmart and Amazon already had like major essential items, but they were literally making themselves essential to the customer by having these fast delivery rates and constant stock of all of their stuff. So that was another reason why a lot of smaller stores did not make it out of COVID, on top of the fact that like they really depended on people coming in person instead of going to their online store. So why am I talking about these stores? Well, because these stores gave birth to this concept that we know as convenience. Convenience actually means the state of being able to proceed with little effort or difficulty. So imagine trying to have your store and you've set up the online store all by yourself, right? Because that's what your budget can handle. But Walmart has it to where it's literally so accessible, so easy to use that you can pretty much buy everything at like a click of a button. That is a convenience. So all of COVID, a lot of people were able to get their groceries curbside or literally delivered to their house, on top of other essential items like clothes and accessories and products and cooking products and hobby products and stuff like that. Amazon really came in clutch for a lot of people because it was such a global wide store that what didn't they have? And this whole concept really didn't level itself out after COVID. A lot of these stores are still thriving very much the way that they did during COVID because people still don't ever leave their house. A lot of people have not gone back to normal. People still use a lot of these delivery services. And that's kind of how the system has made it to be, where you can pretty much buy anything you want, all of your essential items through some online service, and never have to leave your home, never have to talk to anybody, never have to make any kind of relationship with, say, the owner of the store or whatever. You can literally do everything with the click of a button and never have to get up from your couch. I don't think that this is COVID's fault entirely. I think this was something that was already being built up through just the pressures of the internet, because social media gained a lot of popularity, and you saw that we are currently seeing that businesses are really taking advantage of that. They know that their audience is being busied with other stuff instead of like normal in-person advertisements. So instead of you coming to them, they are coming to you by placing their ads through your subscriptions, to your streaming services, through YouTube videos, by paid promotions, or even just popping up an ad because you're talking about it. So now social media is getting taken over by uh, not just AI, but also these big corporations. So it's no longer a way to express yourself and be in a creative area. Now everything is a business and everything can be purchased. So if everything can be purchased and everything can be purchased through a click of a button and you never have to leave your couch, then Why would you ever leave your house? Why would you ever talk to anybody? There's a lot of statistics where show how a lot of people right now, especially after COVID, are still very lonely. And I kind of blame, dude, my mom was right. I blame the phones. We don't ever have the need to go out anymore. You can work from home, you can shop from home, you can even watch like the latest blockbusters from home. And that's sad because you should be able to go and experience the fun, aesthetic pleasing, feeling of watching such a great movie in the mass crowd of people who've been also trying to see this movie. And theaters are just not the same anymore. A lot of things are not the same anymore because of COVID. Because a lot of people, when they hear that a new movie is coming out, they would just rather say, I'll wait for it to come on Netflix, or I'll wait for it to come on to HBO Max, whatever it's trying to be called now. And that's really sad. But I also don't blame them because how the hell are you going to be paying for that much fucking popcorn and a soda for one movie and one person? A lot of other people are trying to get other people and influence other people to kind of go more locally. Um, but it's really hard, especially right now, because these local businesses are trying to keep up with the big chain business, right? So, like, if you were this local business, right, and you were selling the same product that is being sold at Walmart, but Walmart sells it cheaper, but you make it more authentically and in America, then you are almost required to raise the price more. And a lot of people can't pay that price, so they still go to Walmart or to Amazon because they're paying for the convenience of it. And that's not entirely the consumer's fault. That is like big corporations taking advantage of the situation. And that sucks for a lot of local businesses because it's really hard to compete with these big corporations and not price gouge everybody. I do see a lot of videos that say that it's worth paying those prices because you're paying for authenticity and you're paying for proper quality when you know the person who makes it and you know that they're making it in house instead of, say, buying out of the country and buying the same product from China off of like Shein and then reselling it to you. Because I don't like that either. So in this whole thing that I'm talking about, convenience is bad, but at the same time, everything should be in moderation. Um, I have other things that I believe that like convenience is good for, especially because like if you are disabled and you cannot go to the store and you cannot drive a vehicle or such and such, it is a lot easier to just order your food through Walmart services and have it be delivered. And if you have a lot of mental health issues and you have all of these issues that kind of prevent you from either going out there and learning and doing, then yes, again, in moderation. I still really believe that if you can, you should very much support your local businesses because then it's good for your community. And you build relationships with people and you get to talk to people, and that's good for you. There is a community growing where people are trying to get away from this convenienceness and the smartphones and these big corporations and kind of be moderately off grid without going and buying some kind of acre of land and really roughing it. They are trying to dumbify their phones by removing social medias and making their phone kind of just a phone. Or Eddie Burback, who literally got a landline. I want a landline just because like I've always wanted a pushy button phone ever since I was a kid. Um, but I don't because like I don't have that very many people to talk to. I'm not that busy. But if you are thinking about Eddie Burback's video and how he kind of made certain switches, I think you can do the same. I pretty much only use my phone for that, for texting, calling people, answering other people that I talk to through like Snapchat, and that's about it. I don't have TikTok anymore. I don't have Instagram anymore. I use my notes app for very specific things. I do a lot of things through my journals and paper and pencil, but I can't lie, I have also grown accustomed to this convenience of if I have a question, I will pick up my phone and I will Google it instead of just looking for books or encyclopedias and stuff like that, going down to the local library and supporting the library. This was just kind of like my thought about it. I was thinking about it for like a good while and thinking about how a lot of people are trying to make this move now to go no screen time and no phone. And I think it was interesting because I feel like those same people still have those devices in their life. They're not making a full switch, but I mean, they're trying. And it just got me thinking about how everything is such a convenience nowadays that it's a bit ridiculous. I think you should struggle a little bit. I think if you can't get the mayo out of the mayo jar, I'm sure you're gonna learn. You can't read a map and you get lost. Well, I'm sure you're gonna learn. No, I think you should know how to do basic things. You should know how to do basic arithmetic math, and you should read a map. Go read a map. There is this epidemic where people don't know basic things, and that is really sad because those things are important and they are important to the function of your mind and your brain. I don't know, the creator said you shouldn't know all of these important things, then he wouldn't be giving you folds in the brain. You would be smooth brain. So, yeah, I think that's all I got for right now. Don't be subject to consumerism and the convenience of life. Struggle a little bit in different ways. I mean, everybody's poor right now, but buy a map of your area. I don't know. Anyways, bye!